Hello, and welcome to the Ignite podcast. My name is Kaitlyn Moy,
And I'm Heather Morris.
and this is episode number 22, and I'm titling this Calling Your Shot.
I love this one. I love just even what it's called.
Right, and that reminded me when you're playing pool and you have to call the corner pocket or whatever.
Yeah.
You have to call your shot and go in that direction. So we're talking about goals and dreams today. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great place to be, especially I was telling Kaitlyn, this is the closer to the end of the school year, and you're thinking about the things that anybody could be thinking about anything, but even if you have a goal for next year, I'm going to do this, and scheduling your classes and all that other kind of stuff, it's a good time to talk about this.
Yes, ma'am. I think goals are so important. And I think every year I try to set goals. And before it, like when I was younger, I had all these dreams, but I didn't know how to go about making those come true. So we're really going to kind of give you some steps in order for you to get on the right path to work towards those goals and those dreams that you have for yourself. So the verse we're going to start out with for today is from James 1:25. It says, "But the one who looks into the perfect law, the law of liberty," which I love, freedom comes in that, "and perseveres, being no hearer who forgets, but a doer who acts, he will be blessed in his doing," or her doing.
Very nice. That's a strong one.
It is, and I think there's an important place on not just having a dreams, but really going after them and pursuing them. So that's kind of the theme I wanted to get out of this episode today.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes we think a dream is just a dream.
Right.
Yeah,
that's true.
And then you only hear of, other people that are famous or, like that's kind of the facade that I'm not the one that is going to fulfill my dreams. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that needs to be the case.
Right. That's true. That's a good point. And everybody's dreams and aspirations are going to look different. And I think it's important to note that try not to compare yourself to those Instagram influencers that you see or celebrities and stuff. Really, start out with what you're passionate about, what gets you excited, and go from there.
Yeah, and we talked about on one of the podcasts, this is just kind of reminding me about it, that we talked about the gifts that we have, whether they're spiritual gifts or just gifts in general and what we do with them. And if your gift is something that, you are passionate about, then doing the research, and Kaitlyn will go into the steps and, how we can go about that. But, researching it and thinking about what you can do with that, whether it's art or, gardening or anything that you like to do.
Right.
Like it's good to start. I think it's going to be more successful in the end, and it's going to be easier when it's something that you enjoy.
Yes.
Of course.
Absolutely. So I think my first tip would just be patient.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. It was hard for me to pick a major, number one, because I had no idea where to go right out of high school. And that stressed me out because I thought, if I go down this path, then, what if I'm really not meant to do that and I'm supposed to do something else? But I think just making a decision and going with it, and then the experience that you gain from anything that you choose to just pursue is going to help you in the long run.
Yeah, no, that's good advice. And what did you do in college? What did you study?
So I studied human development and family studies. So that's kind of a newer major that came out.
Mine was too.
And what was yours?
Mine was youth development.
Youth
development. It's a little different than, it's not child development, it's youth development. So
right, and both of those I think are pretty broad. Mm-hmm. So you can kind of take it in whatever direction that you want to.
Yep.
And I love that fact because I could work with the elderly population or children or, that degree that I had was just so broad. And in a sense, I didn't know what direction I wanted to do.
But it gave you that freedom too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's important to think about, just what general direction that you want to go in.
And stick with it.
Stick with it. Yeah.
And I think a part of being patient, if I can add this is the mommy part of it, when my kids are like making decisions about, their education or how they want to schedule their classes for the next year or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, you have those guidelines that you have to follow. You have to fulfill certain requirements, but then you get some choices. And I always say to them, like, try it. It doesn't mean you have to stick with it. It doesn't mean that we can't change it for the next semester.
Right.
It doesn't mean that sometimes you can have a dream and it changes and and that's kind of, it evolves. And that's what we're talking about. Or something didn't work out for your dream, and that's part of the patience in it. It's okay to like change the path a little bit, like change. Don't get frustrated and caught up in that. That's the only thing I could say. Don't think that you're a failure because it didn't work the way that your brain put the steps in order and that kind of stuff. So I don't know how else to say that, except you can get really, really frustrated with that.
So and I learned this from my husband, Gavin. He said that every job that he had was like a stepping stone to the next.
Yeah.
And so I look back and I think of like my time at the YMCA as a preschool teacher. And then I started teaching a group exercise class. I got certified in yoga and started with that. And I look back and I see how I'm using that now. But back then I didn't know. I was just like, okay, I'm going to try this. I had never done yoga before. It was just something I kind of wanted to pursue and see if that
you tried it. You gotta try those new things,
right? And that reminds me. So I met one of the students at Stark High School. His name is Christian, and he expressed that he has a dream of opening up his own bakery. And I absolutely love that. So I'm thinking about him when going through this episode. And so, say your dream, for example, is to open up a bakery. What could you do? Rewind to where you are now, maybe take a cooking class or, just go meet somebody that owns a bakery and talk to them,
absolutely.
and see, and letting your dream become a little bit more tangible like that, like talking with the owner of the bakery. I think it makes it a lot more real and exciting too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. This is good advice.
Yes, ma'am. So let's see here. Making your goals a reality. I have this quote. Okay, a dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan. And a plan backed up by action makes your dream a reality.
Yeah.
I think that's really important because before, when I was younger, I just had a dream of whatever, and I just, you just dream about it.
You didn't know how to.
I didn't know how
make
to
it
take
tangible.
Yeah. So when you break it down into smaller bites like that, it really makes it more tangible. Yeah.
And, Kaitlyn's going to, talk about this. I'm seeing on our little paper here that she wrote down on the outline. But, these are all things, again, that we have spoken about before. When you think about it, you already have these tools.
Right.
You can make dream boards.
Yes, I love that.
I love doing that. I always thought that was silly until I did it for a reason.
Oh, yeah.
And just taking pictures of what you enjoy, or, cutting something out of a magazine, or writing down like a quote or whatever, and just putting them up on a board makes it like it gives you that visual.
Right.
And then we've been talking about, it's really trendy right now to journal.
Yeah.
Journal in your Bible, journal just regularly. It's very trendy. And journaling about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just writing your thoughts down is huge. Yeah. I think there's a lot of power in that. And I love that vision board idea.
Yeah.
Because some people are very visual, and seeing those pictures can help to kind of get that dream into fruition.
You know what I started to realize? That my daughter, who's in high school, she's young, but she... or a young high schooler, I should say. She's a freshman, but she kind of does that in her room without like making a designated board. Like she pops those things up on her wall, and it's kind of like that's what she's doing. She just doesn't realize that that's what she's doing.
Right.
So,
I love that. And I want to touch on let your dreams be known to people that you trust and that you know will support you. So you don't want to go and like tell all your dreams to people that kind of just want to hate on what you're doing. Yeah. And sometimes you'll find that, but I think more often than not, you're going to find people that really want to support what you're passionate about and help you be encouraged to keep on those goals. So I think, and before I never really shared my goals with people. I'm always kind of more of like, I don't know, just
an introvert.
Yeah. But I think there is a lot of power in calling your shot, saying, this is what I want to do, and this is, and this is what I'm working towards. And then letting other people know kind of keeps you motivated too.
Yeah.
If you keep that all to yourself, then it's kind of like, well, if I don't go after it, nobody's going to know.
Yeah.
So.
Whereas I'm kind of the opposite. And I think that there's a lot of people that are like this. But, like, I think of so many things in my head. Like, so many things are happening. And I, like, shoot them all out.
Right.
You've been around me. Like, I give all the ideas and stuff. And then I have to, like, be calmed down. Like, whether that's to myself or somebody like you that works with me, like, okay, what is the plan? Like, what can we do? Like, what can we, and then again, the plan can go off a little bit, but in the end, did we succeed in what we do? Yeah. And we do every time. So.
Right. Yep. And so just checking in occasionally and doing an inventory. Okay, where am I right now? How is this goal going? Am I staying on track with that? And also, I think it's important to say, if you get off track, don't feel like you've just messed it up completely. Like, sometimes I've gotten discouraged, okay, like, what's the point of continuing? But that act of going back to it, even if you kind of strayed away from a little bit, I think is really important.
Yeah, maybe take a break. Taking a break isn't bad either.
Right.
Because it can help you go back into it and look at things differently.
Right. Right. Absolutely. I think that's very important. And I have another verse for today. It says, "You make known to me the path of life. In your presence there is fullness of joy." Psalm 16:11.
Aww.
And I love this one because right now I feel like I am so passionate about all of this stuff we have going on here and what I get to do at work. And I just wake up excited about, everything that we're planning. And I just feel like there is such a fullness of joy when you know that you're doing what God has called you to do. And that's going to take time. I'm, 20, late 20s now, heading towards 30.
You're really getting up there, Kaitlyn.
But, the point is, really, it does take time. And just that consistency with just keeping your goals in mind, I think is so important. And just, again, being patient with yourself.
Yeah, and I think, and I don't want to make it go on to like a whole other topic, but I think we have a lot of like new Christians that have been listening to our podcast, or, the Christians that are, have just left their home to go to school or to live on their own or whatever. And, they're still kind of new Christians because being a Christian without your family unit right there all the time is kind of different. And I think that this is, maybe you don't want to call it a dream, but maybe one of your goals are to get your life right and, do the right things. Like, let's start going to church and let's read our Bible every day and what I mean, go to Bible study and start a Bible study and whatever. And this is where something like, what Kaitlyn and I are talking about, like following steps, can be helpful. And to just remember, when other people are involved, like your classmates and, roommates or whatever, that it's not always going to go the way you planned it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point.
Because other people are involved in the process. So, but I just don't want anybody to be frustrated as a new Christian that maybe you stumbled today.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe, it's just been a crummy day. It's been hard. It's raining. Your head hurts, all that other kind of stuff. Like, wow, I'm trying to do the right thing and I've had a crummy day.
Right.
And that's not, I mean, that could be very frustrating and that could pull you away from what your goal is to be, a Christian. But, just pray about it and think about it and pray about it in all of the goals that you have. And, I think you'll come out okay.
Yes, I think that is an excellent piece of advice too. We're all going to have bad days. We're all going to have days when we don't feel like doing whatever we need to get done, and know that that's okay. Everybody feels like that. And I think that's kind of the misconception when we see people and celebrities and stuff like always having the best day. That's not real life. And I think it's important to remind ourselves that, you know, we're going to have those days.
Yep.
And that's to be expected, and that's normal, and that is just the ups and downs of life.
Yep.
We can't have a great day every day.
Yep.
But it's what you do with the bad days that count.
Yes.
So even if you're having a rough day, I just encourage you to stick with it, and you know, no matter what you do, if you have God kind of in your mind when you're doing it, you're always gonna fulfill what He has planned for you.
Absolutely. Yep.
Would you like to conclude with the ABCs of salvation?
I love
Heather?
the ABCs. I'm new to the ABCs.
Okay.
I'm new to the ABCs. So A is admitting that you have things in your life that you need to ask Jesus to forgive you for. B is for believing that Jesus died for our sins. This one is important, like hearing the stories of Jesus dying on the cross and like really knowing it, like this is not a story.
Right.
He really did to make a place in heaven for us.
Right.
And C is calling for His name by asking Jesus to come into your heart. And we can do that a billion times sometimes. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like we stumble and fall and then just ask for Him to, you know, open up your heart and come in again and make you whole. So,
right. Yep, I think that's right. Thank you for sharing that with us. And I have a little challenge for people. Okay, I've never done this before, but I'm making our own hashtag. Okay, Heather?
Okay, yes.
And that's going to be, so what's been motivating me lately, you've heard YOLO.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my thing is, I'm trying to live as if Jesus could come back any day. Okay?
Yeah.
So pretty much just get the most out of your day. Do everything that you can to make it the best day possible. So my little hashtag I'm making now is Jesus coming back. You can do JCB. Okay? JCB. Jesus coming back. Right. Because
I like it.
just as a motivation, at least for me, I don't know if other people would be motivated by this, but just the knowing that Jesus could return at any day just pumps me up to just kind of go all out with my goals and everything that I want to do and accomplish in life. And that's really living like any day could be your last, pretty much.
And I think that is good when you're thinking about, well, it's always good. It's always good to think like that. But just also like the peace that it can give you too. Because the thought is that, you know, Jesus, is going to come back and that it's going to be a wonderful, perfect, beautiful thing. So there should be security in that too.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? If you want to call your shot, this is my challenge for this week. I would like you to go on to our Instagram. I'm going to post the podcast picture on our Instagram, and that is Sal, SAL _community center. And if you got the courage, my listener friend, to post your dreams as a comment in there and really call out what your dream is, like how Christian did with owning his own bakery. I love that. If you want to put that in the comments below, we would both be so
love to
excited
hear from you.
to see what dreams that God has put in your heart. Thanks so much for listening today, and until next time,
ignite your life.